The Life in the Hereafter. What does the Quran say? Translation of Jahan-e-Fada by Ajaz Rasul. Ghulam Ahmad Parwez 1969. 19th Jahannam Hell. In olden times, there was a valley located south of Jerusalem, in which there was a temple dedicated to a god called Marduk. There, human beings were burnt alive as a sacrifice to this deity. In Hebrew, a valley is called G, and the person after whom this valley was named was called Hannam. Therefore, this valley in which human beings were burnt and sacrificed was called Jahannam, or Jahannam. From this context, Jahannam means a place where humanity is sacrificed. The Quran has used this word in this context. According to the Quran, the purpose of human life is that after development of the human self to live a pleasant life both in this world and after this. In the life of the hereafter to be enabled to develop in the further evolutionary stages of life. The life in which this aim is achieved will be called the life of paradise, in this world as well as in the hereafter. Contrary to this, the life in which development of the human self stops and as a result his life's achievements remain barren, that is a life of Jahannam or hell. For the development of the human self the following is necessary. Opening parenthesis. 1. The physical needs of his life are met without any worry and are met with great respect and dignity. 2. Man, apart from the confines of the permanent values, is completely free in every respect. He should breed in an environment of respect for human worth and dignity and be brought up in valleys where he receives the respect he is due. There, none should be a slave of another human being, nor be dependent on another, nor should he have any fear or grief. Such a society will be called paradise. Contrary to the above, a society in which any human being is a slave. In any form. Where humanity is humiliated and disrespected, and human beings are at the mercy of other fellow human beings to meet their basic needs and as a result are humiliated and ridiculed. Where there is no regard for the permanent values and the divine laws are rebelled against, such a society will be called Jahannam. As far as the state of Jahannam in the next life is concerned, the Quran has explained this metaphorically, and this could not be explained in another way because man at his present level of consciousness cannot visualize that life's details which is beyond the perception of the physical life of this world. The Quran informs us that those people in this life who have reached that level of consciousness, so that when they are presented with wrong and right can differentiate between the two. But despite this do not leave their wrong path to follow the right path, will be among those who will be left behind in the progressive journey of life. In this life they do not realize this loss, as they consider the immediate material gains and conveniences to be the purpose of life, and when they achieve these material benefits, they consider themselves successful. But when in the next life the veils over their eyes are lifted, and they see clearly that in the race of life, by lagging behind in this way, what a great loss it is to them. Due to this sense of loss, the inner turmoil and grief which will overwhelm them is called the punishment of Jahannam. And because there is no opportunity for compensation of this loss there, because according to the law of evolution the species which does not evolve forward and instead stops at one place can then never progress forward. Therefore this internal burning in their hearts will be permanent and their inner turmoil will be everlasting. The criterion for differentiating between right and wrong is provided by the revelation. Till the time of the Quran, this criterion used to come to other people through the messengers of Allah. But with the departure of the last messenger of Allah, the continuity of messengerhood ended. This criterion for right or wrong is now written in the folds of the Quran and is protected, and this duty to pass on this message to others has been passed on to Muslims. In previous centuries, the extent to which the Muslim Ummah has delivered this responsibility, we do not wish to go into details regarding this. But in our present age, the free availability and means of communication and resources and a questioning public has resulted in the Quranic message reaching the civilized world. And their intellect and consciousness has developed to such an extent that they can understand these criteria well. Therefore, at least in the present time, the civilized people have no excuse to say they did not have knowledge about right or wrong, or that they were incapable of understanding it. In this respect, regarding those nations living a life of Jahannam which the Quran has mentioned as examples, I think in the present age this category also includes the so-called civilized nations of today. As far as the use of reason and intellect is concerned, there are many verses in the Quran which make this clear. For example, in Surah Araf it is stated that concerning this, we can have no difficulty in recognizing as to which people will go to Jahannam. These are those people. They have hearts wherewith they understand not, eyes wherewith they see not, and ears wherewith they hear not. They are like cattle, nay more misguided. For they are heedless. 179. About the nations of Ad and Thamud the Quran states, remember also, the Ad and the Thamud people clearly will appear to you from the traces of their buildings, their fate, that Satan made the deeds alluring to them, and kept them back from the path, though they were gifted with intelligence and skill. 29:38. In Surah Ahqaf the Quran states that we had given them ears, eyes, hearts and minds, but when they went against the divine laws their ears, eyes, hearts and minds were of no use to them. And we had firmly established them in a prosperity and power which we have not given to you, and we had endowed them with faculties of hearing, seeing, heart and intellect. But of no profit to them were their hearing, sight, and heart and intellect, when they went on rejecting the signs of Allah, and they were completely encircled by that which they used to mock at. 46:26. See also 67:10. In this and many other similar verses in the Quran, it is clear that responsibility and accountability for following the wrong path lies only with those people who have the ability to differentiate between right and wrong in the first place. Those who are not at such an intellectual level are not held responsible. The second condition was that they should have been made aware of the criteria defining right and wrong, and regarding this there are also many verses in the Quran. Who receives guidance, receives it for his own benefit. Who goes astray does so to his own loss. No bearer of burdens can bear the burden of another. Nor would we visit with our wrath until we had sent a messenger to give warning. 17:15. This reality is further clarified in another verse. For your Rabb would not destroy men's habitations for their wrongdoing, while their occupants were unwarned. 131. See also 26, 208-209, 28. 59. This is because Allah does not destroy anyone who is in an uninformed state. Doing this is injustice. In Surah Momin it is stated that the guardians of hell will ask the occupants of hell whether they did not have messengers come to them with clear messages, and they will say, yes. 40:50. See also 67:8-9. Allah himself will address these criminals. He will say, dispute not with each other in my presence. I had already in advance sent you warning. 50:28. See also 5:19-9, 115:30. 9:35, 42. From these facts, it is clear that to establish a crime the two criteria which must be met prior to declaring anyone a criminal is knowledge about the law, and the ability to understand it. In reality only those deeds leave an imprint on the human self which are knowingly and deliberately carried out by us through the use of our intellect and reasoning. Therefore, hell is the name of those effects on the human self which are the consequences of wrong deeds. For those individuals who have neither intellect nor intelligence and do not have the choice or responsibility to make decisions, for them the question of hell or paradise does not arise. The question of responsibility and intention only arises when the criteria for right and wrong are made clear to man. That is why the Quran has categorically stated, "Let there be no compulsion in deen. Truth stands out clear from wrong. Whoever rejects evil and have iman in Allah has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. And Allah hears and knows all things." 256. This is why the right and wrong paths have been made clear. Say, the truth is from your Rabb. Let him who will have iman, and let him who will reject it. 1829. See also, 104, 7. 19.1 Hell in this world. As previously stated, the results of crimes which manifest themselves during this life have been called azab, punishment, by the Quran. In many verses this is also called hell. It includes those punishments which criminals receive in the courts of an Islamic system and also includes the end of those nations which in this world appears in the form of destruction and ruin. This destruction and ruin can come to a nation at the hands of its own people or via a clash with other nations. 19.2 Hell created through the hands of leaders. In Surah Ibrahim it is stated, "Have you not turned your vision to those who have changed the favor of Allah into evil and caused their people to descend to the house of perdition, i.e., hell? They will burn therein, an evil place to stay in." 14. 28-29. 19.3 Life of humiliation in hell. Nations which do not use intellect and reasoning about the universe and as a result do not make use of the natural resources, pass a life of humiliation and deprivation. This life is called a hell of fire. In Surah Al-Imran, "Behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of night and day, there are indeed signs for men of understanding, men who remind themselves of the laws of Allah, standing, sitting, and lying down on their sides, and contemplate the wonders of creation in the heavens and the earth, with the thought, Our Rabb, not for naught have you created this. Glory to you. Give us protection from the penalty of the fire, Our Rabb. Any whom you do admit to the fire, truly you have covered with shame, and never will wrongdoers find any helpers." 3. 190-192. Even after exploiting the natural resources, if nations go against the permanent values, then inequities will develop in their societies and they suffer the consequences of this crime. This punishment manifests itself to them in the form of humiliation and degradation. 10. 27. 19.4 Cowardice and absence of perseverance create hell. Shirk means that man either recognizes the forces of nature as superior to him and bows to them, or considers other men superior to him and becomes subservient to them. In Surah Al-Imran, it is stated that people with such a mentality are extremely cowardly. In their hearts is the fear of others. 3. 151. And in this way their abode becomes hell. 19.5 Subjugation is also hell. The Arab tribes vehemently opposed the last messenger's invitation to the guidance of the Quran. They tried their best to hinder the establishment of an Islamic system in every known way possible, but the Quran has declared in plain terms, "At length they will be overcome, and the unbelievers will be gathered together to hell." 8:36. This was that hell which they encountered as a result of defeats in various battles against the Mu'mineen. The details of these will be covered later. Regarding the Hudaybiyah pact, the Mu'mineen were assured by Allah that with this agreement or peace pact, which seemingly looked like a defeat, they should not feel morose, and instead would soon see what opportunities, successes and prosperity lay ahead for them, and how these hypocrites and pagans, opponents, would be consigned to a life of hell. 48, 4-6. 19.6 Mutual divisions and animosity is hell. The Quran has warned Muslims, and hold fast all together by the rope of Allah. The Quran, and be not divided among yourselves, and remember with gratitude Allah's favor on you. For you were enemies and he joined your hearts in love, so that by his grace you became brethren. And you were on the brink of the pit of fire, and he saved you from it. Thus does Allah make his signs clear to you, that you may be guided. 3. 103. 19.7 Hell in family life. The Quran has deemed it essential that the outlook and ideology, compatibility of ideas, in marital life should be the same. It states that if the same beliefs and values are shared by both husband and wife, then family life becomes a model of heavenly life. And if there are differences, then family life becomes hell. In relation to this ideology and outlook, the Quran illustrates it by drawing a comparison between Iman and Shirk. The Quran states that a Mu'min man's marriage to a mushrik, pagan, woman and a Mu'min woman's marriage to a mushrik man is not legitimate. The aim of this constraint is to do not marry unbelieving women, idolaters or pagans, until they have Iman. A slave woman who has Iman is better than an unbelieving woman, even though she allures you. Nor marry to unbelievers until they have Iman. A man-slave who has Iman is better than an unbeliever, even though he allures you. Unbelievers do but beckon you to the fire, but Allah beckons by his grace to the garden of bliss and protection, and makes his signs clear to mankind, that they may reflect and pay attention. 2. 221. 19.8 The life of hell in a corrupt society. When the Islamic system was established in Medina, a general invitation was extended to Muslims living in other areas to migrate and come to Medina, and in this way live life in an Islamic environment. In this connection, the Quran states that those people who have the ability and means to migrate and do not do so and remain resolved to live in a non-Islamic society, these are those people whose abode is in hell both in this life and in the hereafter. When angels take the lives of those who die in sin against their souls, they say, "In what plight were you?" They reply, "Weak and oppressed were we in the earth." They say, "Was not the earth of Allah spacious enough for you to move yourselves away from evil?" Such men will find their abode in hell. What an evil refuge. 4. 97. Except those who are really weak and oppressed, men, women, and children, who have no means in their power, nor a guidepost to their way. 4. 98. 19.9 The punishment for crimes is defined as hell. When the Islamic system is established, those who rebel against the permanent values will be punished via the Islamic justice system. The Quran calls this punishment hell in this life also. But this life of hell does not end here, for them will be hell in the hereafter also. Regarding this, the hell that the Quran refers to can therefore be applied to both lives. In Surah Mujadila, in relation to the hypocrites, it is said that they do not desist from conspiracies and intrigues against the Islamic system. And then regarding themselves, they deceive themselves by saying that if this system is based on truth, then why do we not get punished for our wrongdoings? In reply, the Quran states, "Why does not Allah punish us for our words? Enough for them is hell. In it will they burn, and evil is that destination." 58. 8. It is clear that this hell could also mean that punishment which they received through the hands of the Islamic system. In Surah Nisa it is stated that whichever individual deliberately murders a mu'min, his punishment is hell and Allah's condemnation and severe chastisement. It is obvious that this punishment of hell includes the punishment in this life. If a man kills a believer, mu'min, intentionally, his recompense is hell, to abide therein forever. And the wrath and the curse of Allah are upon him, and a dreadful penalty is prepared for him. 493. In Surah Al-Buruj, it is mentioned that those troublemakers who cause distress and pain to believing mu'min, men and women, and despite admonition do not desist from this, punishment is also meted out to these criminals in this life. Those who persecute the believing men and women, and do not turn in repentance, will have the penalty of hell. They will have the penalty of the burning fire. 85:10. In another verse, truly, if the hypocrites, and those in whose hearts is a disease, and those who stir up sedition in the city, desist not, we shall certainly stir you up against them. Then will they not be able to stay in it as your neighbors for any length of time. They shall have a curse on them. Whenever they are found, they shall be seized and slain. 33:60-61. There were many backward tribes which operated under the messenger Solomon, and regarding these it is said that among them, whosoever rebelled against the divine laws was punished. 34:12. In another place, such criminals are punished by being chained and locked up in dark cells. 25:11-13. In another verse it is stated that for the criminals there are chains and shackles. 76:4. In Surah Ibrahim, it is stated that the criminals will all be tied together in chains. 14:49. And in this way they will be dragged and put into fire. 71-72. In Surah Ma'mul, it is declared that the people who oppose the truth will be handed over to the grip of our law of requital. With us we have chains, and means of confining them, and such food which sticks in their throats. 73:11-13. See also 69:32. 19.10. The outcome of the opponents of the Islamic system. The last ploy of the opponents of the message of the last messenger was to resort to war with a view to ending the Islamic system. The Quran assured the Mu'mineen that there was no need for apprehension. And if you remain firm and steadfast in your program, then these opponents will be defeated. The condition of such defeated criminals is also called hell by the Quran. For example, in Surah Al-Imran it is stated that even though at present these people undoubtedly have control and power in the land, they are gaining benefit from this for but a short period. Little is it for enjoyment. Their ultimate abode is hell. What an evil bed to lie on. 197. A little earlier it is stated that these people in power should be warned that you will soon be overwhelmed and defeated. Say to those who reject Iman, soon will you be vanquished and gathered together to hell. An evil bed indeed to lie on. 3:12. After this are given details of the Battle of Badr. It is evident from this that this is the hell which the leaders of Quraysh encountered in the Battle of Badr in the shape of the defeat. In Surah Tawbah, the ultimate end of those who battled against the Islamic system is referred to in detail in many verses, and their exemplary punishment is called hell. Know they not that for those who oppose Allah and His Messenger is the fire of hell, wherein they shall dwell. That is the supreme disgrace and humiliation. 9:63. The punishment of disgrace and humiliation makes it clear what kind of Jahannam it is. The Quran has warned the hypocrites of this very fire of Jahannam, and declares that they should reflect, and learn a lesson from history about those previous nations that opposed truth. Haq. And what was their end? 9. 68 to 69, 9. 73. It is obvious that these past nations were destroyed in this world, so this reference is presented as an example for them to learn a lesson. The Messenger of Allah was told to engage in war against these opponents, kuffar and hypocrites, and suppress them firmly, and you will see how their end is hell. 9. 73. There were many hypocrites in Medina, who outwardly were apparently with the Mu'mineen but internally used to oppose them. During the times of war their hypocrisy used to be exposed. They did not give support to the Muslim armies and instead used to make all sorts of excuses. Regarding this, the Mu'mineen were advised by the Quran to ignore them for the time being, but ultimately they will be punished for this and they will be consigned to hell. 9. 95. That punishment was that the Islamic system was established and these hypocrites were destroyed and vanished. In Surah Anfal various aspects of the Battle of Badr are mentioned in great detail. In one place, after smiting the necks of their opponents in the battlefield, it is stated that these opponents faced these consequences because they vehemently opposed the establishment of the Islamic system. Now they should taste this punishment and thus see the truth unveiled in front of their eyes. Those who oppose haq, truth, will face the penalty of fire. 8. 13 to 14. In connection with these battles, regarding the way in which the opponents spent wealth and resources, the Quran points this out and says that when they are defeated and overwhelmed then they will have immense regret for wasting so much of their wealth unnecessarily. The unbelievers spent their wealth to hinder others and themselves from the path of Allah, and so will they continue to spend. But in the end they will have only regrets and sighs. At length they will be overcome, and the unbelievers will be gathered together to hell. 8. 36. In Surah Qamar it states that these people say that in order to oppose haq we have established a common front, and who can defeat us? Say to them, you will see how your great army will flee with their backs turned from the battlefield. That revolution about which you are being warned will soon arrive. It will then become evident how the criminals are held accountable and punished. At that time they will be dragged into the fire and will be told to taste it. 54. 44 to 48. In Surah Tarim all these details are summarized in one verse. O Messenger, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm against them. Their abode is hell, an evil refuge. Indeed. 66. 9. In Surah Tawbah, regarding this hell it is stated that it is encompassing them from all directions and they cannot escape it. 9. 49. The pages of history are a witness how in a short time this truth became evident for all to see. All of the opponents were defeated and humiliated, and the Islamic system was established in all its valor and glory, assuring the good of all humanity. They were repeatedly warned that they should not create such circumstances due to which the Mu'mineen would be forced to engage in battle. But they were intoxicated in their power and were wont to ridicule these warnings and say, why do you give us empty threats? Why do you not bring on this destruction with which you are always trying to make us fearful? In reply, it was said, alas, would that they knew that when the destruction comes, they will seek refuge from its flames in vain. At this time their eyes are veiled with self-deception so they cannot see this destruction, but they are not hidden from it, and it is encompassing them from all directions. 21. 39, 82. 16 and 9. 49. The severest blow of the Islamic system is against the religious clergy and the capitalist junta, because due to it their vested interests and exploitation ceases. Therefore the most vehement opposition to the establishment of this system comes from these two lobbies, who serve as the vanguards of the political system. And after the Islamic system is established, these people are the foremost ones to be consigned to hell. This is the reason why the Quran declares regarding the religious clergy that they do not allow truth and reality to be shown and made clear to people, and in this way they earn their living. But they should know. Those who conceal Allah's revelations in the book, and purchase for them a miserable profit, they fill their bellies with naught but fire. 174. These are the same words to describe those who eat up the property of orphans. 4:10. In Surah Tawbah, the capitalists are lumped together with the religious clergy. O you who have Iman! There are indeed many among the priests and anchorites, who in falsehood devour the substance of men and hinder them from the way of Allah. And there are those who bury gold and silver and spend it not in the way of Allah. Announce unto them a most grievous penalty, on the day when heat will be produced out of that wealth, in the fire of hell, and with it will be branded their foreheads, their flanks, and their backs. This is the treasure, which you buried for yourselves. Taste you, then, the treasures you buried. 9:34-35. A few verses later the Mu'mineen are addressed and asked to come out and fight against this system of lies and exploitation. If you do not do this, then Allah will bring another nation in place of you which will eliminate this inhuman system created by the capitalists and the religious clergy. 9:38-39. But if a nation after establishing a system of truth, then gives it up and establishes of its own accord a system based on political dictatorship, religious clergy and the capitalist system, which it had once upon a time eliminated, Allah says regarding such a nation that it will be subjected to the punishment of hell, and in this punishment of theirs, there will be no decrease, nor will they be given any respite. 2:86. This is that punishment of hell to which we have been subjected for centuries. But self-deception is such that we are imprisoned in a belief that hell is for those others who are kafir, and it is not for us. 19.11 Jahannam is the name of the inner human state. The Quran has called human beings fuel of the fire of hell. Then fear the fire whose fuel is men and stones, which is prepared for those who reject Iman. 2:24. See also 3:10-21, 98-66. 6. In another verse the Quran states that they kindle this fire themselves, stoke it and then burn themselves in it. But those who swerve, do not do justice, they are but fuel for hellfire. 72:15. It is the fire of the wrath of Allah kindled to a blaze, the which does mount right to the hearts. 104. 6-7. A mosque is a place of gathering in an Islamic system, therefore its control should lie only with the governing authority of the system. But in Medina at the time of the last messenger, some people built another mosque with a view to creating dissension and conflict within the community of Muslims. This action of theirs was considered so dangerous, that Allah himself made the messenger aware of it, and said, do not put a single step in this mosque. According to history, the last messenger had this mosque dismantled, and as a consequence this conspiracy of these people was made futile. The Quran sums it up. And there are those who put up a mosque by way of mischief and infidelity, to disunite the Mu'mineen, and in preparation for one who warred against Allah and his messenger aforetime. They will indeed swear that their intention is nothing but good. But Allah does declare that they are certainly liars. 9:107. Never stand you forth therein. There is a mosque whose foundation was laid from the first day on piety. It is more worthy of the standing forth therein. In it are men who love to be purified. And Allah loves those who make themselves pure. 9:108. The Quran has described the inner state of those who built this second mosque. The foundation of those who so build is never free from suspicion and shakiness in their hearts, until their hearts are cut to pieces. And Allah is all-knowing, wise. 9. 110. As previously written, those people whose consciousness in this life is in a state of awareness, but they have not developed their self, they will have a profound realization in the life after death that they are left behind in the evolutionary process of further development. The awakening of this realization, but the deprivation of being able to move to a higher stage of life, is described by the Quran in the following verse. Therein shall he neither die nor live. 20. 74. See also, 87. 13. Death will come to him from every quarter, yet will he not die. 14. 17-18. They will screech and wail and implore for death. They will be told, even if you beg 1,000 times over for death, it cannot come to finish you off. 25. 13-14. Neither will the penalty be such that they die, nor will it be reduced. But those who reject Allah, for them will be the fire of hell. No term shall be determined for them, so they should die, nor shall its penalty be lightened for them. 35. 36. The one who denied truth will say with intense anguish, woe unto me, would that I were mere dust. 78. 40. We have already written that man's every deed leaves imprints on his self continuously. Wrong deeds will have negative effects and constructive deeds will have positive effects. Viewed from this angle, man's paradise and hell are being prepared for him during his life. However, man's emotional desires cover his eyes in such a manner that he is unable to see this hell. In the life after death, these covers will lift and everything will manifest in its real form. At this time there will be no possibility of self-deception. So the Jahannam which is hidden from the eyes in this life will be uncovered. In Surah Kahf it is stated that we will expose hell before them. And we shall present hell that day for unbelievers to see, all spread out. Unbelievers, whose eyes had been under a veil from remembrance of me, and who had been unable even to hear. 18. 100-101. In another verse, hell will rise and appear before those who discard the right path for the wrong path of life. Hell will be placed in full view. 26. 91. And hellfire shall be placed in full view for all to see. 79. 36. Whoever has eyes to see it, to him it will be apparent. Currently, we can only know about hell at a conceptual level, but at that time in the next life you will see it with your own eyes. 102. 6-7. And you will know that it truly exists. This is why the reality is that hell is even now encompassing the kuffar from all directions. They do not see it, but hell keeps them in its sight all the time. 82. 16, 78, 21. In Surah Al-Fajr a great reality is noted in a very refined manner. Usually it is said that criminals will be taken towards hell, but in this surah it states that on this day, hell will be brought to them, i.e., hell will spring forward and snatch man itself. 89. 23. And not just hell, but on that day. And your Rabb will come, and his angels rank upon rank. 89. 22. In this verse, there is an indication about a great reality about Mahshar, the gathering on the day of judgment, i.e., that it is not a particular place or abode where men will be gathered. Allah and his angels will come themselves, and in the same way, hell will also be brought there. 19.12 The details of hell. Jahannam. This is actually the name of the internal state of man. However, the Quran's method is to use daily examples from human life, so that those who possess knowledge and vision can understand these unseen abstract realities intellectually. whereas an ordinary man can take effect from it according to his own mental level of understanding. This method of expression is useful for people with both high and low levels of intellect and understanding so that both categories can benefit from this. Whereas a man of higher intellectual capability can deduce the deeper connotations from these visible examples of daily life, a man of ordinary mental status can still learn a lesson from these. And this is indeed the purpose of providing these details related to paradise and hell. The Quran is revealed in a human language, so for the expression and comprehension of events, the methods adopted for expression by the Quran also follow similar terminology. According to these visible examples, the pain caused by burning in fire is given a central focal reality and the remainder of the details are built around it. Or by giving the examples of farmland and describing such elements which can destroy crops, the example is given how the efforts that man makes are wasted by not following the divine laws. In these verses we present the literal meanings of the Quran. What their metaphorical meanings are, we leave to the intellect of the reader. Nevertheless, those who wish to find out what I have understood by these metaphorical interpretations can refer to the exposition of the Quran or the Ligat al-Quran. Following this introduction, we will present details of Jahannam in the words of the Quran. 19.13 Flames of Fire. In Surah Takwir it is stated, when the blazing fire is kindled to fierce heat. Opening parenthesis. 81:12. See also 17:98. In another verse it is stated that whenever this fire starts to cool down, it will be made fierce again and that fire will burn the faces of the inhabitants of hell. The fire will burn their faces, and they will therein grin, with their lips displaced. 23:104. Its smoke and flames will engulf from all sides. 55:35. The Quran states this fire will be such that, by no means, for it would be the fire of hell, plucking out his being, right to the skull, inviting all, such as turn their backs and turn away their faces, from the right. 70:15-17. See also 77:30-33-101. 9-11. The inhabitants of hell will be placed into this and will be shut in from above. 90:20. That fire will melt the skins. When one skin is burnt it will be replaced with another, and in this way they will remain in a state of continuous punishment. 4:56. The clothes of the inhabitants of hell will be burnt, on their heads boiling water will be poured, in this way their skin and intestines will rot and they will be beaten with iron rods. 22:19-21. 19.14 Boiling water. For the wrongdoers we have prepared a fire whose smoke and flames, like the walls and roof of a tent, will hem them in. If they implore relief they will be granted water like molten brass, that will scald their faces. How dreadful the drink! How uncomfortable a couch to recline on! 18:29. Can those in such bliss be compared to such as shall dwell forever in the fire, and be given to drink boiling water, so that it cuts up their bowels to pieces? 47:15. This boiling water will cause severe pain. 6:70-10. 4. They will try to drink this water by sipping it, but will not be able to swallow it. 14:16-17. See also 55:54. Being boiled in this water and burnt in this fire will be their treatment. 56:93-94. See also 56:43-45, 88. 2:5. In some verses, examples about farming in relation to very hot or very cold water are also mentioned. Whether the water is hot or cold, the fields will be burnt by both. This is why along with very hot water, freezing water is also a punishment of hell. 38, 57, 78. 25. 19.15 For eating Shajrat al-Zakum. Bitter and unpleasant. Such water for drinking and Shajrat al-Zakum for eating. This usually refers to a cactus, but in Arabic, this term is used for every bitter and unpleasant thing. In Surah Al-Safat it is stated, "For it is a tree that springs out of the bottom of hell. The shoots of its fruit stalks are like the heads of cobra. Truly they will eat thereof and fill their bellies therewith. Then on top of that they will be given a mixture made of boiling water. Then shall their return be to the blazing fire." 37, 64-68. In Surah Al-Dukhan, "Verily the tree of Zakum will be the food of the sinful. Like molten brass, it will boil in their insides, like the boiling of scalding water. Seize him and drag him into the blazing fire, then pour over his head the penalty of boiling water. Taste, you truly thought, were mighty and full of honor." 44, 43-46. They will try to swallow it but it will get stuck in their throats. 73, 13. What will be that food? This will be such thorns and bushes which are considered waste and thrown away. They will somehow swallow it but it will neither satisfy their appetite nor will it provide energy to the body. 88, 6-7. This is the metaphorical food of hell. 19.16 Like a prison. As previously stated, the image of hell has been drawn as if it is a horrible prison, in which prisoners are recognized by the numbers allotted to each. Similarly, the criminals in hell will be recognized by their foreheads. 55, 41. They will be dragged by the hair of their foreheads and by their feet. 55, 41. Shackles will be put around their necks and chains on their feet. 40, 71-72, 69. 31-32, 76. 4. Being chained like this they will be locked in dark cells. 25, 13. And they will be beaten with big iron rods. 22, 21. 19.17 Guardians of Hell. Just like prison, hell will also have security guards who will be terrifying and strict. 66, 6. There will not be one but many. 74, 30-31. The inhabitants of hell will request these guards as to whether there can be a reduction made in their punishments. They will reply, "What, did messengers not come to you who warned you that if you do not leave your wrong path you will find yourself in a severe punishment?" The inhabitants will say, "Yes, they did come but we did not listen to them." 40, 50, 67, 8-9. The head guard of hell will be called Malik, Master. The inhabitants, being fed up with the hardships of punishment, will say to him, "Can you ask Allah that he finishes this drudgery of ours, so that we can gain freedom from this punishment?" 43, 77. He, Malik, will say, "Death cannot come here, you will have to stay here dragging your heels." This is the highest level of hopelessness. 19.18 Humiliating punishment. Alongside these punishments, the inhabitants will also face humiliation. They will come towards hell in a state with eyes cast down, looking furtively from side to side. 42, 45. If they resist taking a step forward, then they will be dragged into hell by their faces. 25, 34. Just as being a prisoner is in itself extremely degrading, in the same way entering into hell is also the cause of thousands of mortifications. 3. 192, 40. 60. This is why it is called the hell of humiliating punishment. 45, 9, 39, 40. 19.19 The various doors of hell. Depending on the types of crimes, the doors of entry to hell will be different, but hell will remain one. 1544. It will have different doors, and for every door criminals will be allocated. It will be said to these criminals, enter into hell through your apportioned doors. 16, 29, 39, 72, 40, 76. 19.20 Howling and shrieking. Having been gripped in this punishment, they will howl and shriek in such a way that it will not be possible to hear in hell. 21, 100. Being fed up there, they will plead for death, but death will not hear their cries. 25, 13 to 14. Hell itself seeing them will become enraged, and there will be a horrendous noise within it. 67, 7. The capacity of hell will be so massive that when it is asked, are you full yet, it will say. One day we will ask hell, are you filled to the full? It will say, are there any more to come? 50, 30. 19.21 Prayers for protection from this punishment of hell. This is the metaphorical explanation of the punishment of hell from which no one, not even the last messenger, can save another. Is, then, one against whom the decree of punishment is justly due equal to one who eschews evil? Would you, then, deliver one who is in the fire? 39, 19. This is why the Momineen were told to take heed and save themselves and their kin from the fire of hell. This is why at every moment the prayer of these Momineen is, and protect us from the torment of the fire. 2, 201. See also 3, 16, 3, 20, 25, 65. Since the balance of righteous deeds of the Momineen will be heavy, they will be protected from it. 3, 185, 19. 71 to 72, 39. 61, 44. 56, 52. 18. They will be kept so far from hell that they will not hear a rustle from it. 21, 101 to 102. Therefore the belief that criminals will be made to enter hell, and once they have done their time for the punishments of their crimes, they will then be transferred into paradise, is against the Quran. The one who deserves paradise due to his deeds is never ever sent to hell. The details of this will be made clear further ahead. 19.22 Who deserves Jahannam? Now we face the question as to who those people are who deserve to go to hell, or which are the crimes which result in the fire of hell. This is a very important question which the Quran has answered in great detail, so that every individual becomes aware without any doubt as to which type of deeds will make him deserve hell, so that he can avoid such deeds. If these details are not provided in the Quran, divine laws, then the accused cannot be held responsible for his deeds. In the Quran, in various verses, there is mention of those actual deeds whose consequences are the punishment of hell. But mostly mention is made of the categories of human beings who will be consigned to hell. This is similar to stating as in a constitution, that death is a punishment of treason, or likewise can be stated as those who commit treason will be killed. 19.23 Man's freedom to choose and responsibility. The fundamental difference between man and the other creations, which includes all living creatures in the universe, is that man has been given the freedom to choose and responsibility, whereas the other creations do not possess this ability. This is the reason that this creation other than man does not go against the divine laws, because it cannot do this, as it has been created to live in accordance with these laws. But man has been given freedom of choice so that he can choose to follow whichever path he wishes. His possession of this freedom to choose therefore makes him responsible for his deeds, and due to this responsibility the question then arises of reward or punishment, i.e., for the results of deeds. If man, like the other creation of the universe, had been programmed to follow a particular defined path, then the question of right or wrong and the difference between hell and paradise would not have arisen for him. This reality has been explained very concisely by the Quran in various places, e.g., in Surah Hud. If your Rabb had so willed, he could have made mankind one people. But they will not cease to dispute, except those on whom your Rabb has bestowed his mercy, to those who follow his laws. And for this did he create them. And the word of your Rabb shall be fulfilled. I will fill hell with men, both urban and nomadic, all together. 11, 118 to 119. This is the law for Allah's creation of man, the result of which is that hell will be filled with those men who elect to follow the wrong path through their own free choice. In another verse it is stated that if it were our will, we could have done this, and put every man on the right path. But by doing this his freedom of choice would have ended. Therefore we did not do this, and gave him instead the freedom to choose his own path in life, and by using his freedom of choice wrongly, man creates hell for himself. If we had so willed, we could certainly have brought every self its true guidance. But the word from me will come true, I will fill hell with men, both nomadic and urban, all together. 32:13. Through his revelation, which Allah sent to different messengers, man was informed as to which was the right path and which was the wrong path. Then it was left to man to make his own decision to choose whichever path he wanted to in life. This is why the last messenger was told, "Verily we have sent you in truth as a bearer of glad tidings and a warner. But of you no question shall be asked of the companions of the blazing fire." 2, 119. In the world of philosophy there exists such a concept according to which human nature is evil, and this is why man goes towards the wrong path. This doctrine in reality derives from the Christian belief that every human child is born with the original sin of his first parents, Adam and Eve, and enters this world with the burden of this sin on his back. And he cannot get rid of this blot of sin except by believing in the kafara, atonement, of Christ. Whatever may be the belief or doctrine, both conclude that man does not have the ability to save himself from the wrong path. This means that man, like other creations of the universe, is created pre-programmed. And also that man is thus obliged to follow the wrong path. The Quran has completely contradicted this false concept. The Quran has stated that man has been given certain inherent potentials and it is up to him how he utilizes these potentials. When he uses them wrongly it is called Iblisi Tariq, following the devil. But man is not helpless in this path, he can control and overcome it. The Quran has, using the allegory of Iblis and Adam, exposed this fact in various verses, and in every place regarding this challenge by Iblis that I will put the children of Adam on the path of Iblis, the path of the devil, declared with great clarity. As for my servants, no authority you will have over them. 17:65. However, those who decide to follow you of their own accord, hell will be filled with them. 38:85-15, 43. The Quran states that Iblis cannot misguide those who decide to follow the permanent values. Therefore hell is for those who by exercising their own choice deliberately opt for the path of evil. If a man's intention and decision is not involved in an act, then responsibility for that action cannot be imposed on him. If one does not have any responsibility for a task, then the question of punishment or reward will not arise. 19.24 Those who do not make use of their intellect and reasoning. An insane person cannot be held accountable for any of his actions, because if one does not even have the ability to think and understand, he cannot be held answerable for any of his actions. But if a person has the ability to think and understand but he fails to make use of his reasoning and intellect and breaks the law under the influence of his emotions, he is declared a criminal. Similarly, the individual who does not use his intellect and reasoning and instead follows others blindly, thus doing wrong, he will also deserve punishment. The Quran in very clear words states that those people who do not use their faculties of intellect and reasoning will go to hell. Many are the men, both urban and nomadic, we have made for hell. They have hearts wherewith they understand not, eyes wherewith they see not, and ears wherewith they hear not. They are like cattle, nay more misguided. For they are heedless. 179. Those people who in this life do not make use of their hearing, vision and intellect will on the day of judgment be resurrected blind, deaf and dumb. 97, 36. 62. In Surah Al-Mulk, this reality is narrated in a very visionary and instructive way. It is said that when these people are admitted into hell, the guardians of hell will ask them, "What? Did the messengers of Allah not come to you, who could have informed you of the right and wrong paths by drawing a line of demarcation between them?" They will say, "Yes, they did come," and will then be asked, "So what happened that you have landed in hell?" And the reply will be, "Had we but listened or used our intelligence, we should not now be among the companions of the blazing fire." 67. 10. So hell is the abode of those who, despite having the ability of intellect and reasoning, do not make use of it. Those people are also included in this category who blindly follow the political leaders and religious clergy. In Surah Azab, it is stated, "And they would say, Our Rabb, we obeyed our chiefs and our great ones, and they misled us as to the right path." 33. 67. They will say that since these leaders turned us from the right path, they should be given double punishment, firstly, because of being misguided themselves, and secondly because they misguided others. 33. 68. In Surah Al-Safat, regarding the denizens of hell, it states that these are the people who with head down, ran along whichever wrong path they saw their forefathers following, without stopping to use their own intellect and reasoning. 37. 69-70. Therefore, hell is the abode of those who do not use their intellect and reasoning, either due to the influence of emotions resulting from their vested interests they keep following the wrong paths, or they follow in the footsteps of their forefathers by blindly following their religious leaders. This is indeed the other name of following emotive desires, because blind devotion is the product of human emotions and not of intellect and reasoning. The Quran demands that everyone in the light of the revelation using their intellect and reasoning should select their own paths themselves. This so-called religious leadership which, in the words of the Quran, in order to get worldly benefits has created a kind of trade union, will itself land in hell. Then how can those who follow them go to paradise? 19.25 Those who follow their emotions. The right approach for man is to keep his emotions under the direction and control of his intellect and to make use of this intellect and reasoning in the light of the divine revelation i.e., the Quran. But regarding those people whose aim of life is to satisfy their emotions and desires, there can be no doubt as to their being of hell. The Quran has called man's rebellious emotive desires or that intellect which follows the influence of emotive desires as shaitan or Iblis, so-called devil. According to the Quran, those who follow shaitan or Iblis belong to hell. In the story of Iblis and Adam, Iblis is warned, "If any of them follow you, hell will I fill with you all." 7. 18. See also 15. 43:22, 3-4, 38, 59. In this category are also included those people who, when they are told to follow what the Quran has revealed, say no, we will follow the path of what our forefathers did. After this, when they are told to follow the revelation that Allah has sent down, they say, nay, we shall follow the ways that we found our fathers. Following what? Even if it is Satan beckoning them to the penalty of the fire. 31:21. In fact, even if Satan himself was calling them to the punishment of hell, they would follow him. Even though they were warned that he is your avowed enemy and will lead you to hell. 35:6. In Surah Yasin this warning has been called the promise of Bani Adam. Children of Adam. 36:60-64. Among these people who follow Satan, those leaders are also included who first incite people to wrongdoing and then, when the time comes for accountability, discern any responsibility in misguiding them in the first place. Such people may escape in the courts of justice in this life, but they cannot escape the divine court, and will be included among the criminals. 22:3-4, 19, 68. And it includes those who spread the net of spiritual holiness or saintliness, and claim they know of heavenly information and through mischievous ways try to impress people with miracles. 67:5. 19.26 Hell for those who deny the hereafter. The foundations of Deen are based on the functioning of the law of requital, i.e., according to the principle that whatever constructive deeds a man does, his self should develop to such an extent that after this life he will enable himself to progress to the further evolutionary stages of the next life. The one whose balance of constructive deeds is light, his self will not be able to progress forward. That is called the life of hell. Now it is obvious that the individual who does not accept the human self and its future, i.e., the life in the hereafter, for him the issue of the development of his self does not arise. Therefore, what question can there be about these people being owners of hell? The Quran has mentioned in several verses that those people who do not have conviction, Iman, in the hereafter are inhabitants of hell. The basic difference between an animal and a human being is that the life of an animal is only a physical existence, which ends with death, while the life of a human being continues forward after death. Therefore, the one who is not convinced about the continuity of life does not differentiate between a man and an animal. He lives his life at an animal level. But his not accepting the continuity of life does not mean that his life will finish with his death. Whether he accepts it or not, his life will still go forward after death and his abode will be hell. The Quran states this clearly. While those who reject Allah will enjoy this world, and eat as cattle eat, and the fire will be their abode. 47:12. See also 10:7-13, 578, 27. Since in this life the results of human endeavors are according to the physical laws, there is no difference therefore in the results between those who have Iman in the hereafter and those who do not. Both get results in proportion to their opportunities and efforts. However, those who do not have Iman in the hereafter do not have a share in anything good in the next life. Whatever the level of prosperity and success in this life, in comparison with the next life it is trifling indeed, because the life of this world is short while the evolutionary phases or stages of the next life are countless. This is the reason the Quran declares that that which deserves to be called life indeed is the next one. What is the life of this world but amusement and play? But verily the home in the hereafter, that is life indeed, if they but knew. 29:64. See also 2:126, 3:197. Therefore, for the one who does not have a share in the good of the hereafter, what doubt can there be of his being in hell? In Surah Bani Israel, it is stated that those who work for the immediate benefits in this life as the aim of their life, they achieve these, but after this their end is in hell. 17, 18, 11, 15 to 16, and 39. 8. In Surah Al-Kahf it is stated that these people will ask in the hereafter as to why they are being deprived of the pleasantries and conveniences of that life. They will be informed, "You received your good things in the life of the world, and you took your pleasure out of them." 46, 21. In Surah Kahf it is mentioned that these are the people who wasted all their efforts in attaining the benefits of this life, therefore on the day of judgment no balance will be raised for them. 18, 103 to 105. Because they preferred this life over the hereafter. 79, 38. There is nothing wrong with making efforts in this life to acquire benefits. But when there is a clash with this and a permanent value, the individual who at that juncture prefers the benefits of this life and turns his back on the permanent value, does not in reality have Iman in the life of the hereafter. These are the ones who buy this life over the next life. 2. 175, 3. 77. 19.27 Balancing of deeds. But those people who despite accepting the life of the hereafter keep breaking some of the permanent values. In their cases it will be seen as to whether their constructive deeds are heavier or destructive. If the balance of the destructive deeds is heavier they will belong to hell. But those whose balance is light will be those who have lost their self, in hell will they abide. 23, 103. See also, 101, 8, 9, 19.28 Different categories. Apart from the above, the Quran has also mentioned different categories of the inhabitants of hell. 1. Kafir, those who deny i.e., those who refuse to accept the permanent values. This also includes those who oppose the establishment of an Islamic system and rebel against it. 2. Mushrikeen, those who along with Allah's laws associate and include non-divine powers and values. Along with the divine laws, they follow man-made laws as well. 3. Mukazzibin, those who make efforts to falsify the permanent values given by the revelation. This also includes those who say they accept these values but deny it through the deeds. 4. Murtadeen, those who after accepting the truth of the permanent values, then deny them and take the path of kufr, rejection. There remains no difference between them and the kafir, even those people are included among them who despite calling themselves Muslims, in some matters obey the kafir. 47, 25. 5. Munafiqeen, hypocrites, those who in their hearts do not accept the truth but because it suits them, due to the benefits associated with the system, include themselves among the mu'mineen. 6. Mujrimeen, criminals, those who disobey the divine laws and transgress against these. They are also called zalimeen, fasiqeen, and fujjar. Those who avoid or sidestep these values are also included in this category. In the Quran there are many verses about these groups, in which it is stated that these are among the inhabitants of hell. Due to paucity of space, it is not possible to note down all the verses here, therefore a few will be quoted to illustrate this. But in relation to crimes, more details will be provided as to their nature and importance, so that we can assess our own situation as to which crimes we are committing. 19.29 Hell for Kafirin, those who deny. In Surah Bani Israel it is stated, "And we have made hell a prison for those who reject." Kafirin. 17, 8. This is that hell about which you were warned. 36, 64. In Surah Fatir it is stated that those who practice kufr will enter into fire. 35. 36. The Quran has clearly stated what the constituents of Iman, conviction, are, and the denial of these is called kufr. Regarding Iman, it is stated in Surah Al-Baqarah. But it is righteousness to have Iman in Allah, and the last day, and the angels, Malaika, and the book, and the messengers. 2. 177. In another verse, any who denies Allah, His angels, Malaika, His books, His messenger, and the day of judgment, has gone far, far astray. 4. 136. It has also been made clear about Iman, that it does not mean that whatever concept one wishes to have one can keep about Allah, the books, messengers, angels and the hereafter, and that this will be accepted as Iman. Absolutely not. The Quran states in very clear terms that it must be in line with that which is revealed in the Quran. So if they have Iman as you have, they are indeed on the right path. 2. 137. If these people have Iman the way you, the last messenger, have believed, then it will be accepted that they are on the right path, otherwise not. This is why the Quran does not accept even the people of the book, Jews and Christians, etc. as mu'min. For Iman, a basic condition is to believe what has been revealed to the last messenger, i.e., the Quran, and have Iman in the revelation sent down to Muhammad. 47. 2. 19.30 Hell for Mushrikeen. Those who associate other values with the Quran. In Surah Kahf, it is stated, who set up another god beside Allah, throw him into a severe penalty. 50. 26. Those who consider other sovereigns besides Allah as sovereign will be consigned to severe punishment in hell, and are declared to be mushrikeen. 9. 17. To make it clear, mushrik are not only those who worship idols, but includes whoever follows man-made laws along with the divine laws, those noted in the Quran. They do shirk. Even the ones who create sects in Deen are also mushrik. 30. 31. About the Christians, the Quran has clearly stated that those who call Jesus as Son of God or believe in Trinity, they commit kufr and also shirk. For them paradise is haram, forbidden, and their abode is hell. 5. 72-73. The Quran includes all people of the book, along with kafir and mushrikeen, in this category. 98. 6. Shirk is the greatest crime from whose destructive effects there is no protection. One who joins other gods with Allah has strayed far, far away from the right path. 4. 116. It is clear that all those who follow and practice pagan customs and traditions are also included in the mushrikeen and will also earn hell. 4. 117-121. If shirk is such a heinous crime, then for those who consider themselves as God in this world, there is no doubt in their being denizens of hell. 21. 29. They will be in hell and the devotees as well. 21. 98. 19.31 Hell for Mukazzibin. Those who falsify the truth. In Surah Tur it is stated that on this day there will be great destruction for the Mukazzibin, and it will be said, this is that fire of hell which you used to deny or falsify. 52. 11-14. In Surah Araf it is stated, to those who reject our signs and treat them with arrogance, no opening will there be of the gates of heaven, nor will they enter the garden, until the camel can pass through the eye of the needle. Such is our reward for those who are criminals. For them there is hell, as a couch below, and folds of covering above. Such is our requital of those who do evil. 7. 40-41. In another verse it is stated that hell is for those who falsify Allah's laws and try to find ways to avoid these laws. 92. 16. 19.32 Hell for Murtadeen. Reverting after becoming a Muslim. The individual who accepts Iman and then denies it will have no benefit from his previous state of belief. He is also included in the inhabitants of hell. 2. 217. As noted previously, declaring oneself a Muslim and then following the kufr in some matters is also irtidad, equivalent of not being a Muslim. This because they said to those who hate what Allah has revealed, we will obey you in part of this matter, but Allah knows their inner secrets. Opening parenthesis. 47. 26. 19.33 Hell for Munafiqeen. Hypocrites. A hypocrite in this life too lives in hell with each breath. He is in a continuous state of inner conflict, creating turmoil, which is a state of continuous punishment. This hell is of this life, and this same hell going forward becomes the fire of the life of the hereafter. The Quran has included both kafir and munafiqeen in the same category and told the Messenger, O Messenger, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm against them. Their abode is hell, an evil refuge. Indeed. 66. 9. See also. 9. 73. In another verse, regarding the hypocrites it is even stated, the hypocrites will be in the lowest depths of the fire. 4. 145. This means that they will have a more severe punishment even when compared with the kafir. Regarding those who built a mosque in Medina to cause division among the mu'mineen, it is said in the Quran that this evil action of theirs will be a source of an inner tumult of silent fire which will cut their hearts into pieces, and this mosque and its builders will all be consigned to hell. 9. 107 to 110. 19.34 Rebels against the Islamic system. Those people who are intoxicated by their wealth and power, and rebel against the Islamic system or try to create hurdles in the path of its establishment, their abode is also hell, both in this life as well as in the life of the hereafter. Know they not that for those who oppose Allah and His Messenger is the fire of hell, wherein they shall dwell. That is the supreme disgrace. 9. 63. See also. 4. 14. 72. 23. In Surah Hajj a reference is made to those who make an attempt to make the divine laws ineffective, not allow them to function. They are of those who belong to hell. 22. 51. In Surah Momin, regarding those people who are arrogant and do not accept Allah's sovereignty, they will be disgraced and humiliated and will enter hell. 40. 60. In another verse they are declared as enemies of Allah and their abode has been declared as hell. 41. 28. 19.35 Hell for criminals. Before we go into the Quranic details about the criminals, there is a point of principle which requires clarification. The Quran has used the terms kafirin, mushrikeen, munafiqeen and mujrimeen not in such a way that whatever meaning one wishes to ascribe to these he is at liberty to do so. The Quran has used these terms preceded by the prefix al, which is a definite article in Arabic, so these are stated as al-kafirin, al-mushrikeen. This means that kafir are those who are declared as kafir by the Quran. Mushrik are those whom the Quran declares as mushrik. Mujrim are those who are declared to be criminals according to the Quran. According to the definition of the Quran, criminals, mujrimeen, are those who defy the divine laws and break them. In this respect, whereas the Quran has discussed details of some of these crimes, it has stated as a collective term that the abode of al-mujrimeen, the criminals, will be hell. Whether these crimes are committed by Muslims or non-Muslims, both will be declared criminals. Here we are mentioning the effects of those crimes which affect the human self and their result is in the next life. We are not discussing the punishments for those crimes which a worldly court will give to criminals in this life. This issue has already been discussed, regarding the relation to the next life of those crimes whose punishment is received in this life. As an example, in Surah Qamar it is stated, "The day they will be dragged through the fire on their faces. They will hear, 'Taste you the touch of hell.'" 54:48. In Surah Rahman it is stated, "This is the hell which the criminals deny." 55:43. In Surah Mudaththar, it is stated that the inhabitants of paradise will say to those in hell, "For what crimes have you landed here?" 74:40-41. In another verse, they are called al-Fujjar, those who cause dissension. 82:14. Al-Fasiqeen, those who violate Allah's laws. 32:20. Al-Zalimin, those who are unjust. 21:29. And those who depart from justice and uprightness. 72:15. And are declared the opposite of the Muslimin. 72:14-15. 19.36 Details of some crimes. 1. Those who hide the conveniences of life which are bestowed from Allah. Those who spend in wrong places and hold back wealth. Those who transgress all bounds. The ones who doubt the truth of the divine laws, they will be in the grip of a severe punishment of hell. 50:24-26. 2. The religious scholars and priests, who misappropriate others' earnings and due to their vested interests become a hurdle and prevent others from being guided to the path of Allah. 9:34. 3. Those who hoard wealth only for their own benefit, and do not spend it for the good of mankind, will earn a severe punishment of hell. 9:34-35, 70. 18-21. The Quran states, "Who piles up wealth and lays it by, thinking that his wealth would make him last forever. By no means. He will be sure to be thrown into that which breaks to pieces, and what will explain to you that which breaks to pieces? It is the fire of the wrath of Allah kindled to a blaze, the fire which does mount right to the hearts. It shall be made into a vault over them in columns outstretched." 104, 2-9. This is the type of hell which is a consequence of the capitalist system in this life as well in the hereafter. 4. Those who keep Allah's deen as revealed in the Quran secret, or sell it as part of their business. 2. 174-175. 5. Those who eat up others' earnings by illegal means. 4. 29-30. It is important to remember that all those ways which the Quran has not declared as allowed are illegitimate. In this, those people who engulf the possessions of orphans are especially included. 4. 10. 6. Those who earn a profit on the capital only, this could be earning interest on loans extended to others, earning extra money on money, or investing money to get so-called profit, or in any other form. This is called riba by the Quran. The consequence of such a system and practices is hell in this life and in the hereafter. 2. 275, 3. 130-131. 7. Those who do not make arrangements for the sustenance of those whose running business has stopped or they are no longer able to work. Those who talk a lot but practically do nothing for the welfare of others. These are the ones who, despite being so-called Muslim, i.e., observing their prayers, are in fact not Muslim. Those who follow the divine laws. 74, 41-45. People who block sources of sustenance by sitting on them like a cobra, and think by just saying empty prayers that they have become Muslim. For them destruction awaits in hell. 107, 4-7. The real musclin are those in whose wealth and resources there is a known part for every deprived and needy person, and who have a right to this. 70. 22-25. 8. The one who does not respect those who are left alone in society, and does not encourage others to make arrangements for the sustenance of the deprived and poor. The one who receives wealth and resources through inheritance and considers himself the sole owner of it. The one who on the basis of the power of his capital, establishes such a system through which the earnings of others' toil and sweat from all four directions accumulates and makes its way to him. 89. 17-20. 9. If a correct Islamic system has been established in some place, then it is important that all those who live in a non-Islamic system should migrate to this place to spend their life under this system. If people have the means to do so and despite this, do not and sit satisfied in a non-Islamic system, their abode is hell. 4. 97-98. 10. Those who argue against deen without knowledge and reason and without reference to the Quran. 22. 8-9. 11. Those who consider the divine laws to be a joke, that is, not taking them seriously. 18. 106. Saying that the realities of the Quran are but the tales of the ancients. 83. 13-16. For those who find an excuse to escape from the permanent values, this is called al-had. 41. 40. For those who mock about Allah. 3. 181. 12. Those who refer false things to Allah. 16. 62. 13. Those who do not respond to the call of the Islamic system in the name of some duty or assignment. 13. 10. Or behave arrogantly against the permanent values. 40. 60. Those who turn their backs and run away from the battlefield. 8. 15-16. 14. The one who kills a mu'min deliberately. 4. 93. Even those who cause pain and grief to mu'min men and women. 85. 10-33. 57. Be aware that this is not a complete list of all the crimes which makes these criminals deserve hell as a consequence. This is just a list of a few prominent crimes. For this type of detailed list, a separate volume is required in its own right. As a rule, the Quran has declared that those with righteous deeds will be in paradise while those with evil deeds will be in hell. 27. 90. Both these aspects are referred to throughout the Quran. 19.37. A few specific issues. The Quran has quoted Pharaoh as being the representative of political exploitation, oppression, slavery, and tyranny, and because of this has specially declared both him and his nation to be inhabitants of hell. And further states that he, Pharaoh, while leading his nation, went to hell. 11. 90. He, Pharaoh, has been called leader of those people who invite others to hell. 28. 41. And it is stated that they are in a continuous state of hell. 40. 41, 40, 46. At the time of the last messenger, the staunchest opponent of the establishment of the Islamic system, the guardian of Kaaba and a very great capitalist, was his uncle Abu Lahab. The Quran mentions the defeat of his plots and specifically mentions the consignment of both him and the companion in his plotting, his wife, as being consigned to hell. 111. 1-5. Similarly, the wives of the messengers Noah and Lot are mentioned in the Quran. The purpose of mentioning them is to relate that if the wife of a messenger does not have Iman in his message, then her being the wife of a messenger will be of no use to her. She will be in hell herself. 66. 10. In the divine balance, the weight is of deeds, not of who is related to whom, nor who is a friend of whom. 37. 51-55. The Jews believed that paradise was made exclusively for them, the Bani Israel. These people would go to hell only for a few days due to the going against the Sabbath in the past. The Quran has rejected this belief and declared that belonging to any party, group, generation, family, caste, creed, etc. is of no consequence. Whoever commits evil deeds and is engulfed by their results will find himself in hell. 2:81. Regardless of which lineage he may be. 3:24. And whether he belongs to the urban population, Inns, or is from nomadic tribes of the desert. Jinn. 41:25. 19.38 Mutual arguments in hell between leaders and their followers. This question that the cause for the destruction of a nation is its leaders or the people who follow these leaders and provide them with strength, has great significance in sociology. The Quran has referred to this aspect in a very interesting and striking manner as mutual arguments which take place between the leaders and their followers in hell. This has already been referred to in chapter 16. It has been considered necessary to add further details here. In Surah Ibrahim it is stated that the leaders of a nation who are unappreciative of Allah's favors and do not utilize the resources properly end up taking the caravan of their people to that market where they cannot find any buyer for their produce, and this is a punishment of hell. 14:28-29. But the Quran does not absolve the people of a nation of their responsibility. It says, "Who told you to close your eyes and keep following behind others, had you made use of your intellect and reasoning, and not followed the path of destruction behind them? These leaders had no power of their own. You became the tool of their power and thus they created havoc and destruction in the world, so both they and you deserve hell." When a nation faces destruction, the people do not remain protected from its effects. This is the focal point of these exchanges, which are presented by the Quran in a metaphorical way. All these leaders include politicians, capitalists and religious leaders. In Surah Saba it states, "The unbelievers say, we shall neither believe in this scripture nor in any that came before it. Could you but see when the wrongdoers will be made to stand before their Rabb, throwing back the word of blame on one another. Those who had been despised will say to the arrogant ones, had it not been for you, we should certainly have been mu'minin." The arrogant ones will say to those who had been despised, "Was it we who kept you back from guidance after it reached you? Nay, rather, it was you who transgressed." Those who had been despised will say to the arrogant ones, "Nay, it was a plot of yours, by day and by night. Behold, you ordered us to be ungrateful to Allah and to attribute equals to Him." They will declare repentance when they see the penalty. "We shall put yokes on the necks of the unbelievers. It would only be a requital for their ill deeds. Never did we send a warner to a population, but the wealthy ones among them said, we believe not in the message with which you have been sent." 34:31-33. This excuse of theirs will not be acceptable and they will all be put into hell. In another verse it is stated, "And they will turn to one another, and question one another. They will say, it was you who used to come to us from the right hand of power and authority." They will reply, "Nay, you yourselves had no iman, nor had we any authority over you. Nay, it was you who were a people in obstinate rebellion. So now has been proved true against us the word of our Rabb that we shall indeed have to taste the punishment of our crimes. We led you astray, for truly we were ourselves astray. Truly, that day, they will all share in the penalty." 37:27-33. In the next verse the Quran has declared them all equal as criminals. In Surah Momin, "Behold, they will dispute with each other in the fire. The weak ones will say to those who had been arrogant, we but followed you. Can you then take on yourselves from us some share of the fire? Those who had been arrogant will say, we are all in this fire. Truly Allah has judged between His servants. 47-48. In Surah Shu'ara, the leaders are called Iblis and their followers as the army of Iblis, and their mutual arguments are quoted while they are in hell. And the whole hosts of Iblis together, they will say there in their mutual bickering, by Allah, we were truly in an error manifest, when we held you as equals with the Rabb of the worlds. And our seducers were only those who were steeped in guilt. Now, then, we have none to intercede for us, nor a single friend to feel for us. Now if we only had a chance of return, we shall truly be of those who have Iman. 26, 95-102. In Surah Al-Baqarah, then would those who are followed clear themselves of those who follow them. They would see the penalty, and all relations between them would be cut off. And those who followed would say, if only we had one more chance, we would clear ourselves of them, as they have cleared themselves of us. Thus will Allah show them the fruits of the deeds as nothing but regrets, nor will there be a way for them out of the fire. 166-167. In another verse, the Quran states that when the punishment of hell will be announced to this people, they will say, O our sustainer, Rabb, where are those leaders, urban and rural, and religious priesthood of ours who have ruined us? Show them to us just once so that we can trample them underfoot and at least release some of the rage in our hearts. 41-29. Over here we have quoted those verses where the leaders and their followers dispute mutually. The Quran also states that in the world nations also copy other nations and adopt wrong paths, and this is referred in Surah Araf. He will say, enter you in the company of the people who passed away before you, men, both urban and nomads, into the fire. Every time a new people enters, it curses its sister people that went before, until they follow each other all into the fire. Says the last about the first, Our Rabb, it is these that misled us. So give them a double penalty in the fire. He will say, doubled for all, but this you do not understand. Then the first will say to the last, see then, no advantage have you over us. So taste you of the penalty for all that you did. 7:38-39. At another place, among the nations entering hell, no nation will be pleased to see another nation, because every nation will accuse another nation, that it was responsible for creating this punishment for it. And in this way, every nation will say to Allah, Our Rabb, the nation which has stirred this fire of hell for us, give it double punishment. 38:59-61. 19.39 Inhabitants of Paradise and Hell, their mutual conversation. In a few verses of the Quran there has also been a mention of the mutual dialogue between the inhabitants of Paradise and Hell. In Surah Araf it is stated, the companions of the Paradise will call out to the companions of the fire. We have indeed found the promises of our Rabb to us true. Have you also found your Rabb's promises true? They shall say, yes. But a crier shall proclaim between them, the condemnation of Allah is on the wrongdoers. Those who would hinder men from the path of Allah and would seek in it something crooked. They were those who denied the hereafter. Between them shall be a veil, and on the heights will be men who would know everyone by his marks. They will call out to the companions of the paradise, peace on you. They will not have entered, but they will have an assurance thereof. When their eyes shall be turned towards the companions of the fire, they will say, Our Rabb, send us not to the company of the wrongdoers. The men on the heights will call to certain men whom they will know from their marks, saying, Of what profit to you were your hordes and your arrogant ways? Behold, are these not the men whom you swore that Allah with His mercy would never bless? Enter you the paradise. No fear shall be on you, nor shall you grieve. The companions of the fire will call to the companions of the paradise. Pour down to us water or anything that Allah does provide for your sustenance. They will say, Both these things have Allah forbidden to those who rejected Him, such as took the deen to be mere amusement and play, and were deceived by the life of the world. That day shall we forget them as they forgot the meeting of this day of theirs, and as they were wont to reject our signs. 7. 44-51. In Surah Hadid, the hypocrites will call to the inhabitants of paradise and will ask. One day will the hypocrites men and women say to the Mu'mineen, Wait for us, let us borrow a light from your light. It will be said, Turn you back to your rear previous life, then seek a light where you can. So a wall will be put up betwixt them, with a gate therein. Within it will be mercy throughout, and without it, all alongside, will be punishment. Those without will call out, Were we not with you? The others will reply, True, but you led yourselves into temptation. You looked forward to our ruin. You doubted Allah's promise, and your false desires deceived you, until there issued the command of Allah. And the deceiver deceived you in respect of Allah. 57, 13-14. 19.40 Only two categories. The Quran has divided people into two categories only. One category belonging to paradise and one belonging to hell. 47, 7. These two can never be alike. 47, 14-15. The owners of paradise will be very successful and elevated. 59, 20. While the owners of hell will be very unfortunate. 87, 11-12. 19.41 Inhabitants of Araf. Elevated place. As we mentioned above, in the Quran there are only two categories of people, the group belonging to paradise and the other belonging to hell. But in Surah Araf there is mention of the people of Araf. Regarding them, it is commonly said that they are those people about whom a final decision has not yet been reached as to whether they should be sent to paradise or hell. In other words, their case will be pending. According to the Quran, this is not a correct concept. The state of the divine court, law of requital, is not such where a case cannot be decided, and a criminal is kept in suspension, as under the law of requital nothing remains undecided. Araf means an elevated place, therefore, the people of Araf are those among the inhabitants of paradise, who in comparison to the rest will enjoy a higher status. This is that category of inhabitants of paradise who are called al-Sabiqin, foremost, and al-Muqarrabin, very close. 56, 10-11. These people will come forward as witnesses of their respective groups. 4, 41. And this is why it is stated that they will be recognized from their foreheads. 7, 47-49. The people about whom it is stated in 7, 46. That they will not be in paradise yet but they will wish to be there, appears to refer to those people in this life who aspire in their hearts to join the Mu'mineen and the divine system. More details will be provided in the last chapter under Jannat. 19.42 Punishment in hell is forever. There is a commonly held view about hell that it is like a prison where prisoners, criminals, will go to serve their time. Once they have completed their tenure of punishment, then they will be taken out and sent to paradise. Those who do not consider the simile of a jail suitable, say hell is a hospital where sinful patients are sent. When they recover, they are then sent to paradise. In another example, hell is described as being like a laundry, where dirty clothes are washed, and when the dirt is removed and they become clean, they are then sent to the paradise. Whatever the simile, according to the Quran, this very concept is wrong that the inhabitants of hell will at any time ever be able to leave hell and enter paradise. According to Quranic teaching, in this worldly life man is provided with the opportunity that through his righteous conduct he develops his self to such an extent that it is enabled to traverse through to the next evolutionary stages of life. Whichever human self has developed to such an extent will after death be at the next higher plane of life. This has been compared to the life of paradise. The self which has not developed to such an extent will be stopped after death from going forward in the next life. This is compared to a life in hell. In paradise there will be further opportunities for action for the human self to develop further. But in hell there will be no possibility of action, so the question will not arise of being able to redeem one's shortcomings and move forward. For example, like a university in this world, the student who fails his exams is not given another chance. And it is obvious that such a student cannot be promoted to the next class. This is the law of evolution according to which the species which has not developed itself further will remain in the same state of life forever. This law is also applicable to human life. Therefore hell is neither a prison nor a hospital. It is the name of the stoppage in the evolutionary process. This is why it is called Jahim, which means to be stopped. 56. 94. From this it is made clear that Jahannam, hell, is therefore the name of stoppage forever. In the Quran this fact has been referred to in various ways, for example in Surah Nisa. Those who reject and do wrong, Allah will not protect them nor guide them to any way except the way of hell, to dwell therein forever. And this to Allah is easy. 4. 168 to 169. See also 33, 64 to 65, 41, 28, 72, 23. In Surah Furqan, hell is called such a punishment which sticks and never detaches. 25, 65. In other places it is also called a punishment which stays. 39, 40. And a punishment which stays forever. 32, 14, 42, 45. The denizens of hell will acknowledge their wrongdoings and will say, is there a way out of this? 40, 11. They will cry out and say, if we can once be taken out and given an opportunity to work, then you will see what good works we do. 23, 108, 35, 37. The reply will be given, do not talk so much, the time for deeds is gone, and you will now have to live this life of humiliation. 4. 121. In this way, they will find no escape from there. Their wish will be to get out of the fire, but never will they get out therefrom. Their penalty will be one that endures. 5. 37. In Surah Hajj it is stated, every time they wish to get away therefrom, from anguish, they will be forced back therein, and it will be said, taste you the penalty of burning. 22, 22. See also 32, 167, 2, 20. Leaving aside being able to get out of hell, there will not even be a reduction in the punishment. Nowise will the punishment be lightened for them, and in despair will they be there overwhelmed. Opening parenthesis. 43, 75. See also 40, 49. In this way, hopelessness will engulf them forever. This unending hopelessness is a very severe punishment, and as this increases, the intensity of this punishment will increase as well. 78, 30. Being fed up with this hopelessness, they will wail and say, they will cry, O Malik, would that your Rabb put an end to us. He will say, nay, but you will abide. 43, 77. The punishment of hell on one side, on seeing their record of deeds also they will say, would that death had finished us and we would not have had to see these days. 69. 27. In this way they will repeatedly call on death there, but they will not die. 25. 13-14. They will see death coming from all directions but they will not be able to die. 14. 17. 19.43 Abdiyat. Living forever. What does it mean? From these explanations it is evident that the punishment of hell is forever. Similarly, life in paradise is also denoted as being forever. Further details about paradise will be covered in the next chapter. The question is, what does forever mean? 1 Abdiyat, living forever, is the infinite existence of Allah which has no end. The concept of time in which there is no end or which has no beginning, we can never understand. Our mind with its limited understanding can only conceive of that period of time which is located between 2 points which have both a beginning and an end point. The concept of no beginning and no end regarding time is outside the scope of understanding of the human mind. This kind of no beginning and no end is applicable only to Allah, only for one Allah with whom none else can share. Other than that of Allah, this infinite existence for a non-divine entity will in any case come to an end at some point. The fine, but very important difference of Abdiyat between divine and non-divine has been defined by a term which describes Allah's infinite existence. This is called Samdiyat. Infinite, and in Allah's Samdiyat none other can be included. Therefore the punishment of hell is not without an end. In the Arabic language and in the Quran itself, the term abada is used to denote a very long time, and the term khalud means something which remains unchanged. The khalud of life in paradise is that it cannot change into hell, and the khalud of life in hell is that it cannot change into paradise. While mentioning the punishment of hell, the terms used are khalud, abd, makim, etc. In a verse it is stated, they will dwell therein for ages. Aqaba. 78. 23. The meaning of aqab, plural of haqab, is a very long time, i.e., they will remain there for a long period. From this the meaning of abdiyat becomes evident. However, it is elaborated even further in Surah Hud. They will dwell therein for all the time that the heavens and the earth endure, except as your sustainer wills. For your sustainer is the sure accomplisher of what he plans. 11. 107. As long as the heavens and earth exist, whatever conclusions we draw, it is clear that the khalud and abdiyat of hell is not infinite like Allah. What the end of this universe will be, what will happen to the inhabitants of hell, even what will be the final destination of those who are in paradise. As the same words are used for paradise. 11. 108. These are those questions which cannot be answered at the level of our present consciousness, nor can we understand them. From this it is important to state that this abdiyat is not like Allah's abdiyat. But for hell to remain for a very long time, its meaning is not that the inhabitants of hell will one day come out and move to paradise. As long as hell remains, the inhabitants will stay in it. 19.441 Great Reality. We have seen that the individual who has not done such deeds which can lead to the development of his self, he will live a life of hell. And in hell there will be no possibility that man can change his state. From this you can imagine that for the future of man how important the present life is. You can understand it as a student whose whole future depends on passing his exam, and this is the last chance to present himself in this exam. Now consider, if that student wastes even one moment of that year, how much loss he incurs in the long term, i.e., such a loss which can never be redeemed. This is the reason that the Quran, in comparison to the life in the hereafter, has called every convenience of this life as short, and every attraction of this life is declared to be sport and entertainment. If the time in this life is being spent to put the future, including in the hereafter, right, then every breath of this life is more valuable than the life to come, and if the future is being ruined, then the most valuable convenience of this life is inferior to even a particle of sand. Let us once again remind ourselves that this is the only life. We have to decide our future in the hereafter. After this there is no chance. If anyone wastes this opportunity, then he will find himself forever in hell, where there is no chance of release. With this, keep in mind that no individual can know for sure how much worldly life remains to him. Therefore he cannot even say that he has enough time to sort out his future. In this case, if he had wasted some time, it would not greatly matter. The chance is the last one, and there is no knowledge either of when the day for the examination will be announced. This is why the Quran invites us to be quick in the race for protection from your Rabb, and for a paradise whose width is that of the whole of the heavens and of the earth, prepared for the righteous. 3-133. Now let us move on to the subject of paradise.